Now, we all blame Priti Patel for the situation in Dover, and rightly so. She is the Home Secretary, she's part of the government, sitting on a massive majority that can literally pass laws when they want. They've done it limiting your movements, but apparently can't pass laws to protect our borders. This obviously makes her a failure on every level when you ask those who once supported her, but then again, yous lot already know that. Now, some will say international law and human rights stops her doing what she should be when in the last 20 months of human rights matter to these people at all. Also, the French letting thousands of people illegally cross the channel is a breach of international and maritime law, so both arguments are complete nonsense, let me tell you. As you know, she's been asleep at the wheel, and on purpose you could actually say, but another factor in this I should point out is the civil service and border force, or border farce as they should actually be called. The civil service, as you know, is a complete swamp filled with people who support mass influxes through Dover, while the border force is apparently refusing to turn them back. You could say the entire corrupt system is literally against us as many have suspected, and shit like this just proves it in my mind. But Breitbart here have reported UK border force refuses to turn back migrant boats to France. Britain's border force is refusing to turn migrant boats back to France in direct opposition to the policy laid out by Home Secretary Priti Patel, as another 20 illegal migrants were brought ashore on Tuesday morning. Well, that's pretty simple then. Pretty piss poor Patel needs to start sacking these people there, or in fact maybe arrest them for facilitating illegal immigration. If she's set a policy that tells them to turn them back and they bring them here, surely they're just trafficking these people. Obviously she ain't gonna do that because it's a common sense move to do, and let's be honest, she wants this to continue, otherwise like I said she would have stopped it. Here it says, in stark contrast to migrant situation in Poland, where border authorities are currently preventing thousands of Middle East migrants from breaking through from Belarus, the UK's border force is continuing to ferry illegals onto British soil. Like I said, this should make it pretty easy to arrest the motherfuckers that are actually doing it. Obviously, it's not gonna happen. So far this year, over 21,000 boat migrants have illegally crossed the English Channel from France, many of whom were brought ashore by the Border Force or the Royal National Lifeboat Institute after setting sail in small rubber boats from the beaches of France. Yeah, and not just that, they're setting sail from the beaches of France being washed over by coppers. Yep, the French police actually stand there and watch these people break the law. It goes on, in October, Home Secretary Priti Patel said that in light of the record number of illegal crossings, the government would finally adopt a turn back the boats approach and send back migrants to France, which, as a safe country and wealthy EU member state, should be where the migrants claim asylum, and also should be where the government there stops them from breaking the fucking law by crossing into the UK, obviously. It says here, the border force, which has been accused of actually travelling into French territorial waters to pick up migrants and bring them back to Britain, has so far rejected the plan, citing concerns about weather conditions and the size of the boats being intercepted in the channel. Well, fuck me, if they're big enough to float over the channel in winter, then they're big enough for you to tow their asses back. Stop talking complete and utter bollocks. It goes on, over the weekend, the Border Force officer told the Times there is fairly universal agreement that this is not likely to ever happen. Well, it would sure as shit happen if you were held criminally responsible for people trafficking if you fucking didn't. It says the captains of the cutters have control of the process, and in practice, if they're not willing to use it, it will never happen. Like I said, a criminal conviction might convince them. It goes on, we will not be easily pushed by pretty piss poor Patel, but ultimately it's a decision for the captain, and nothing can override the captain's right on their vessel. Well, a prison sentence might take their vessel away from them. Obviously, I don't care which way you swing it, this is literally the border force facilitating illegal immigration in my mind. I'm sure most of you would agree with that. Here it goes on about how they're gonna do it, which, let's be honest, is a piss poor way of doing it, when in fact we should be doing it like Australia did it years ago. Yeah, people were pissed off with them and the left always screamed, but then again they always do that, don't they? At the end of the day, it soon worked because the fuckers that were doing it actually stopped. The same would be true here, as you all know, but let's be honest, they're not gonna do that, whether pretty piss poor Patel says it or not. Even if she tries to get tough, it looks like the border force and the civil service won't bother. This is obviously not a surprise to me, but let's be honest, the government with its power could stop this if they wanted. They managed to stop us doing most of what we wanted all year. So at the end of the day, while this here is actually against the border force, at the end of the day, I still blame pretty piss poor Patel. She could do a lot more than she has. And in fact, it seems to me like she just wants it to continue while she talks shit. But guys, before I go, remember to check out the channel's website and other links that are down below in the video description. And also share this video out, as YouTube don't seem to be doing that these days.